This episode is brought to you by Ana Luisa, Modern Fertility, and Trust and Will. We are so excited to have them on board, making the show a possibility.
Welcome to If These Ovaries Could Talk. I'm Jamie.
I'm Robin.
And we're your hosts.
We sure are.
Love is love if you don't have to make a family by taking a traditional route. If these ovaries could talk, you would say.
How do I get the sperm through custom?
I am a lesbian.
So gay.
So gay. We need to tell our stories.
It's not your nuclear family anymore. It's not just your mom and dad thing.
We're not ruining these little humans.
It's not for the gay reason. Just because we stay.
Our ovaries are in your ears. In your ears!
Oh, don't put our ovaries in anyone's ears. That's weird. Wait, Jamie,
What?
I have a news item to discuss.
This is amazing. I'm excited. What are we talking
so
about?
I found myself in a position this weekend. So Maxine, my daughter, switched lacrosse teams from one Brooklyn team to another Brooklyn team. And so I don't know any of these people. Like I was a coach at the other one. Of course I was.
Of course
And
you were.
I, and
lesbian.
I knew everybody and my wife would come sometimes. So they knew her. So I had to come out to all these new people over the weekend.
Oh, awkward. How'd that go?
Well, in the beginning, I was just like sitting there and not talking to anyone. And then it's like got to the point where, okay, I had to like start talking to people. I'm like, oh, you're whose mom? And I was really, really hesitant.
Weird.
Like I know I felt so like uncomfortable. And so I kept just trying to, I just kept trying to like
you always talk about
drop
like,
it in.
I don't know. I don't have to talk about it. People just know. I don't know. So it's just interesting that you had.
No, I always say that no one ever says anything to us about our family.
Right.
But I usually just slide it in really easily. This was the first time in a long time I felt uncomfortable. And I think, if I'm getting all analytical, it was because it was like a sports thing. And I was very wary of like the lesbian sports person and like, I don't know.
Of them
like
perceiving you as the lesbian dyke, like gym teacher, which you went to school for, like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Didn't you major in that? Didn't you major in being a gym
just
teacher?
for a little bit. Just for a little bit. I changed my major just for a little bit. I did not graduate with that. But yeah, it was a really weird experience. And so like I said it a couple times and then I just was like rolling with it. And I was just like, yeah, my wife she's indoorsy. She doesn't come to these things because Mary never comes. It's just me.
So you don't have to, but you have to, like we say all the time, because you're kids.
Well, I just didn't want it to be a weird thing that I wasn't saying.
I know.
Like, and I would found myself, I got to a point a couple of times where I deleted, like either I deleted a person and just told it as singular.
Right. I do that sometimes.
Or I caught myself saying we instead of Mary or my wife. And that's when I knew I had to do it because I was like, oh, you're doing that. You're doing weird shit.
I know, like,
I was like, what are you
you're
doing?
editing yourself.
What is this?
You're like
1992? What are you doing, Robin?
It's so weird though how you do that. Like you think you're over it. We think we're so out and proud, and it's like, yeah, we're gay moms, but then
we couldn't be gayer with all of our projects.
I know.
Jamie. We're about as gay as it
you
comes.
had told me, I say this all the time, if you had told me 10 years ago, everything creative I'd be doing would be based on the fact that I'm a gay mom, I'd have told you to shut the front door and get out of there.
No, tell me about it.
Like, it's so funny how you find yourself editing yourself in your head. Like, how am I going to say this part? How am I going to say this part? If you're trying not to, like, if you don't want to bring it up, it's just so, it's ridiculous.
Well, like you said, you think you're past it. You think you're done. And it rears its head again. It's almost like you're never done coming out. And you are never done with that little bit of insecurity, shame, whatever it is for you. I name it as that. I don't want to put any words on anyone else.
Yeah,
but
for me, it's like
fear.
Having, like, letting people know that I'm different, I guess. Like, but also I'm so proud of the fact that I'm different. I don't know. I think that maybe if maybe I should just shave my head and like dye it rainbow and like start wearing only, what is something that's super like cargo pants or something? Like just start being that. And I'm super short. That's why I can't do that style, because I'm too short. That's the problem. If you're like long and lean, you could rock that cargo pant style.
I think like that's all confidence. I can't rock any of that.
I can't rock like baggy pants. I just look short and stumpy. It just does not work.
No, that's in your head. You have the same thing with shorts. You can wear shorts. You just have some weird thing about it.
I can't rock shorts either. But that's another way I could help myself look more like I could be. I don't know. Now I'm getting into I was going to
say, just get over your fear and wear shorts. For God's
I wear them
sakes.
sometimes now. I wear them sometimes now. Take it easy.
All right. Let's talk, Jamie, about our newest Patreon member.
Oh, I was just going to just roll with the name and go for it. And then I read it and I thought,
I know. And did you see how I just like paused you would have to do it?
I'm going to do it because I love, I love this person already. Annika Swedland. That's what I'm saying.
I think you did it right. I think you did it right.
Annika Swedland.
It could be Annika, beautiful. But either way, that's in the ballpark.
No, it could be Annika. Annika Swedland.
Whatever. We are so thankful
much,
that they are
Monica.
now a part of our Patreon membership, community, group, what have you.
Thank you so much.
If you want to help us make the show, get bonus content, which includes at the gestational carrier level, video interviews of most episodes that are dropped a day early without ads, unedited.
You don't have to wait till Monday. You can hear us on Sunday. I think that's the biggest draw of it all. That's what I think.
I mean,
that's what I would sign up for.
You can see the
You don't
madness,
have
not
to
just
wait.
hear it.
Like all my shows, I hate waiting every week for the next one to come. You get it a day early. That's what we give.
So just if you want that, head over to patreon.com/ovaries talk and you're going to join. All right, let's talk about Courtney and Meredith.
This story.
I want to start singing Secret Lovers.
Secret Lovers. You should just explain what it is and I'll sing underneath you. That's all I know.
Okay.
Though. Secret
Okay, good. So they were secret lovers who met in the Dominican Republic while doing work for their church, one of them running away from her sexuality, the other one no idea about her sexuality. And now they're on our podcast. Oh my God, that was good, Jamie.
That's all.
Did you just run out of words?
No, I don't even
run
know
out of
the
words.
tune. Honestly, I only know that tune right there. I can't even think of the rest of the song.
I think it's That's What We Are is the next
That's
line.
what
Anyway,
we
Meredith
are.
and Courtney, secret lovers. And I want to tell you something. These two are so awesome that Helen volunteered. I'm saying it, Helen, to roll the tape this week. She said, I love these two. Can I roll the tape?
I can't believe she let me sing just now. She has banned me from singing for the past month.
I think Helen's growing. I think whatever she did in her time away from us, maybe she was getting some help. We don't know.
Helen.
I'm sorry, Helen. I'm sorry.
We're-
I'm sorry. No,
We're
that
saying
was a
nice
compliment,
things, Helen. We are saying nice things about you.
Please roll it, Helen. Hi, Courtney and
Hi.
Meredith. Welcome.
Hi.
It's so lovely to see you.
Yeah, we're very excited to be here. Yeah.
And we are excited to have you here. We say it all the time, but we love, love, love when we get to talk to listeners. It's our favorite thing because it just feels like real people, real stories.
We've been waiting for when should we let them know that we want to be on the podcast? At what stage is appropriate for us to be okay, now can we talk to you? We're this much farther in our process. So what about now?
That's amazing.
Well, I feel like as soon as your process involved Helen, you reached out and that felt like the right time.
Yeah. I mean, there was no better time once Helen got involved. We knew that
that we had to contact you guys for sure.
You got your sign.
Yeah.
See, Helen is good for some things. She really is.
Yeah.
I think we need to explain what's going on here. So I think without further ado, it is time for your 30-second elevator pitch. Meredith and Courtney, are you ready?
Yes.
On your mark. I don't even let them get ready. I'm like, on your mark, get set, go.
My name is Meredith. This is my wife, Courtney. We met while we lived in the Dominican Republic, where we were working for a Christian nonprofit ministries. We were friends turned roommates turned secret girlfriends for about 2 years. We eventually left the country, moved back to the States, settled in Chicago, got engaged, got married right before COVID in January 2020, and spent the majority of quarantine prepping for pregnancy. And now we inseminate, thanks to Helen, in 2 weeks.
That was brilliant. You got everything in
Right
even
at 30
Helen.
seconds.
Thanks to
Even
Helen.
Helen.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here.
And also, I had to stop myself from breaking into secret
That was
lovers.
us. Courtney was my first and last girlfriend. First and only.
Good job, Courtney. Good job.
Thank you.
Atta girl.
We both moved to the Dominican Republic without knowing it. We didn't know each other. I'm from the Midwest. Courtney's from California. I moved down to the Dominican Republic knowing I was only going to live there for a few years. Basically, both of our titles, we were missionaries, but we worked for separate nonprofit Christian organizations. So Courtney moved to the Dominican to
Live there indefinitely. I kind of went to move to just be there for long.
What did you think when you moved?
Well, I initially moved to basically get away from a past relationship that I'd been in with a woman, and kind of just figuring out I don't think that's who I'm supposed to be type of situation.
Gay or with that woman?
With that woman, with gay, just being gay. I growing up just being a believer, I was taught being gay is not right, basically. So I just kind of was discovering that about myself and was this isn't right. This isn't who I want to be. So I'm going to follow Jesus and be a missionary and live in the Dominican Republic because that's what I thought would help me get away from
plot twist. It didn't work.
Definitely didn't work. But like, what a choice to make. I can't do it here. I got to go all the way over there. And I have to like completely 100% devote myself to Jesus in order to try to live the way that I feel I should live.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big.
Or to try to not live that way. It's just running from yourself.
Right.
You know, that's the part that's sad
and I think,
about it.
like you said, like you never thought you would get married, or if you did, like you would just kind of be settling for a life with a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I thought was right. Right. So it's just like, that's what I thought was what I needed to do or what I needed to be. Yeah.
When did you start realizing that you were, I don't know if you identify as gay or how, first I should ask how you identify. And then when did you start realizing that?
Yeah, I identify as gay. I was in a relationship that was like on and off for about 4 years with a woman. And I don't know, it was like really difficult because like part of me was just like, this isn't who I should be or be with. So like, that's why it was so up and down and for various other reasons.
It was a pretty toxic relationship.
Very toxic. And then I think just like living in the DR and just kind of like discovering like actually like who God is like for me. And like just his love and like uninhibited love, right? It's just like what I learned. And then I like met Meredith and learned even more so just like what a good, healthy relationship could be.
With another person and with God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I feel like I just started discovering for myself through just like research and like even more podcasts. Like I can still follow Jesus and love Jesus. And like, he still loves me no matter what, because this is the way he created me to be, that I can still, like have a relationship with a woman and be who God created me to be and follow him like wherever.
But also a lot of that self-discovery was while we were dating.
Yeah.
So it was a little tumultuous
I'm
at
sure.
times.
Yeah.
I can imagine. How do you start finding that relationship with God while you're at a Christian, like while you're a missionary?
Yeah.
And hiding a relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting. So because it's a small mountain town and because all the Americans, no matter what ministry you work in, kind of know each other, there's like a lot of crossover between ministries as far as like, oh, here are all the single women that are down there. Like, why don't you all live together? You know, because also it wasn't safe for you to like live alone or anything like that. So basically when you move down there, it's like Courtney moved down 3 months before I did. And I lived with a Dominican host family for my first semester there, just to get acclimated to like life and culture and language. And then me and a couple other new girls were looking for housing. Courtney lived in a house with 2 other missionaries from 2 other ministries.
Yeah.
Basically, Courtney lived in a lower apartment with 2 girls, and then there was an upper apartment that had an opening. So myself and 2 other girls moved into this house. So we didn't really know each other we didn't know each other at all.
No.
We met at a Halloween party.
Yeah.
And then we just became like fast friends. People were starting going on dates, like other people. Like our friend was starting to date a Dominican man. And then I was like, I want to go on a date with someone. And Courtney said, I'll take you on a date.
But I think it was reversed. I said that. I want to go on a date with somebody. You said, I'll go with you. That's what you said.
Yeah. Well, but then you were like, I'll like just a friend date. So we just decided to go on a friend date.
Now wait a
That happens regularly.
That's just girlfriends going out, by the way. Right. That's not a date.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when it is, it's just like, you want to get dinner. It's never said like, I go on a date.
sure.
It's just, you want to get pizza?
Yeah.
All right. LGBTQ families, Jamie, are very intentional. We say it all the time.
Yeah,
we
they
start planning way
Yep.
before our babies come into the picture. And you know how I feel about making sure that you have everything buttoned up legally to make sure that your family that you work so hard to create is safe. And this is why I love trustandwill.com, Jamie.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. We spend so much money to get our families. It's really true. It is really nice to know that there is legal help out there that is affordable. Setting up an estate plan with trustandwill.com is simple, convenient, and secure.
I mean, for as little as $39, you can nominate guardians for your children, determine who gets your stuff, and plan for future medical care, all from the comfort of your home, which I love.
I know you do. I know you do. You guys, hiring a traditional estate attorney can cost thousands. And using a one-size-fits-all template is not nearly specialized enough, especially with our families, right?
And trust and will documents are designed by estate planning experts and customized for the state you live in. And with live customer support 7 days a week, trustandwill.com's team is available to answer any questions that you have while setting up your plan.
Yeah, so you just go to their website and take the short quiz to see what product is right for you, and then you customize the documents for your needs. I wasn't sure if I had remembered to put Orion in our will or not, and they were able to help me with that. So thank goodness for help.
Listen, Jamie, you need all the help you can get.
It's really actually so true and sad. But so if you're like me and need something done quick, easily, and affordable, go to trustandwill.com.
Trust and Will is the most trusted name in online estate planning, the category leader on Trustpilot, and they've helped hundreds of thousands of people protect their family's assets and legacy.
Gain peace of mind at trustandwill.com/OCT and get 10% off, plus free shipping of your customized legal document.
Don't wait. Do it right now, everyone. This is really important. And you're going to get 10% off plus free shipping at trustandwill.com/OCT.
trustandwill.com/OCT. Courtney, was it out that you had been in a relationship with a woman, or were you private about that?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like only my best friend knew. Like
in the States.
In the
at
States.
Home.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Nobody knew.
That, by the way, that adds to the tumult of the
Yeah.
relationship when
Yeah.
you're hiding and lying.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so, Meredith, you weren't picking up any vibes like, I think she might be interested in a date with a woman.
No, I am everybody's friend. I want to be everybody's friend. I want everyone to like me. It is something I'm constantly working towards. And I was just like, yeah, that sounds like a good time. Little did I know, like Courtney behind the scenes was like, there's going to be a 3-part date. It's going to have this, this, and this. And then she started joking, like, I know how to take a girl out. Like, I'm going to write a book for men so they know how to date women. And I'm just like, that's funny. Like, I literally wasn't thinking anything of it. I'm just like, this girl's really into planning a date. So
just like your radar is not even on that because it's.
Well, she didn't have any radar.
Right.
She was dating men.
Well, we haven't talked about where you came from, Meredith, before you got here, but I'm assuming it's a very similar upbringing to Courtney.
Yeah. So I come from a very Christian background. Interesting enough, my parents are incredibly liberal, but my mother specifically considers herself theologically conservative.
Interesting.
But I was always in the camp of like, I love everyone. Jesus loves everyone. And I guess I just never even had to take a stance. Like I was never in a situation in like my life that I would have to like say, this is my stance on homosexuality and Christianity.
Where did your church stand on it? Or did you not even ever know because it never really came up?
It never really came up. I remember like growing up, we had like a choir director. It turned out she was gay and they like asked her to leave. But I wasn't in like, I was like 17 and I was in love with my high school boyfriend. Like I was like, I had a bigger fish to fry. So
take us back to the 3-part date.
Yes. Well, first of all, she tells me it's going to be on this day at this time. Then I'm getting panic texts in the middle of the day because it might rain. And she's like, we might have to change the plan. I'm like,
we're just going out for pizza. I thought we were just getting together.
Like, then she tells me I have to wear tennis shoes. And I'm like, where are we going? She comes upstairs like an hour before the date. And I'm like in a towel. I just got out of the shower. And you were like, are you ready? You don't remember that?
No.
You were like anxious. And I was like, I will be ready.
Because it was going to rain like later. So I was like, maybe we need to bump the date up.
Like go earlier. Because we're in the Dominican. Yeah. She has a motorcycle in the Dominican. We're going to go on her motorcycle.
Of course you do.
So if it's going to rain on the motorcycle, it's not a good situation. So we get on the back of her motorcycle. She hands me this big like bag with like picnic stuff in it. She tells me I have to hold it on the back of her motorcycle.
I brought you flowers.
She brought me flowers.
Yeah. Okay. Are things going off in your head yet, Meredith?
And you didn't even think anything
honestly,
of it.
Okay, yeah. From my perspective, like I don't know why. I don't know why I planned this elaborate like hangout date.
I think we know why.
Obviously.
Then we like drove to this local place and picked up like takeout food. And then she was like, okay, we have like a 25-minute motorcycle ride. And I was like, where are we going? And so we ride on the motorcycle for 25 minutes up like the mountains of the Caribbean. And then she's like, okay, we have to hop this fence through this cow pasture.
It's like the best date ever.
She's like, this is my favorite spot on the island. And it's a huge lookout over all of like the area. Yeah. Like we're like looking around mountains, but we're standing in a cow pasture. So
this is like a TLC worthy proposal date. Like this is like next level.
Yeah. Thank you.
Because it was like raining in the distance, there was a double rainbow over our entire date.
And that's double gay right there. Double gay.
Yeah.
The universe was like, you too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then we just start talking and I'm like, what do your parents do? How many siblings do you have? Like, we didn't know anything about each other. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, I dated someone for 6 years and I was in love with them. I thought I was going to marry him. And I like tell her this because I'm like a teenage girl. I'm like, tell me your juicy dating history. And I was like, have you ever been in love? And she was like, yes. And I was like, oh. And she's like, but it's like difficult for me to talk about. And I was like, okay. And immediately in my head, I thought, maybe she dated a woman. But I've literally never had that thought about anyone else. Just because someone doesn't want to talk about the relationship, I don't automatically jump to the gay thing. Yeah. It literally was like a thought implanted in my brain from literally nowhere. But I just like...
You're like smelling the flowers.
Yeah, I'm like, but I have like, a woman. No, like literally, I didn't have a radar of any sort. I just like had that random thought. And then it like passed.
It's and so I was like, funny. Wow, your guys' brains and bodies are literally putting you together because there's an attraction, but you just don't see it.
Yeah.
It's like you're so like disconnected from your authentic self.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we both like clearly moved to this country for reasons outside of ourselves. Yeah. Like we were following the Lord and following what we thought we were supposed to do. And I was like thinking, you know, I have all this romantic dating wisdom. I was like, well, if you ever want to talk about it, just let me know. Like, I'd be happy to talk about your ex, like with you. And she's like, okay. And we moved on. Yeah. Next part of the date, we drove 25 minutes back down to our house. Then she's like, okay, part 2, we're hopping the fence of our neighbor's house. We're getting on their roof. We're stargazing and having s'mores over candles and like
a 27-hour date.
Exactly.
Also.
So yeah, that was our first date.
Wow.
Which was just a hangout.
Yeah, it was just a hangout.
We like spent every day together. Then we were like, we really hit it off as friends. I had a great time. Let's keep hanging out. 2 weeks later was spring break and we both worked for schools. So we were off, but Courtney went on a backpacking trip and I went to the beach. And when Courtney came back, she told me, she was like, I'm so glad you weren't on that trip because I would have been trying to impress you the whole time. And I was like, why? Why would you want to impress me? Like, whatever.
It was then that I knew, like, I started having feelings, like, for her.
And I was just like, let's hang out. I really like hanging out with you. One night, like, all of our roommates are gone. And Courtney, like, sits me down. She's like, I'm ready to tell you about my ex. And I'm like, okay. But in my head, this whole time, I've, like, already known that it's with a woman. And I'm just like waiting for her to like say it so we can move past it. Like, I don't care. So literally she's like ready to puke. She's downing water
because for me, it was like only like my best friend knew, like at this point that I've ever dated a woman in the past.
It's a big moment. And the stakes are high because you're in a ministry with like religion and with an organization that may not welcome you after. That's the stakes are very high.
We had never even talked about it, so you didn't know where I stood on it.
No clue like what you would think of me. Like my intention though, going into like telling her was because I started to have feelings for her. So I was like, if anything, if I tell her, she'll be like, cool, and like we won't hang out anymore. And like, great, because I can't be gay, right?
So let me tell her so it puts an end to it and then I can continue living.
So she's like sweating for a solid 20 minutes, like, and hasn't said it. She's like, well, and she like starts like 12 times. And I'm like, I'm going to go to the bathroom and give you a second. And I like trot to the bathroom and I literally am like, then I'm like praying. I'm like, Lord, just let her say it so we can like move past it. Like it's clearly like holding her back. And I just want to move past it and like move on. So I come back. She's like, well, the reason why it's so hard to say my ex's name is because it's a woman. And I was like, oh, and I like lean back on the couch and I'm like, finally. And I'm like super relieved. And she's like, just like confused. She's
like, why are you relieved at this situation?
And I'm like, because I've known for like the last month and I don't know why, but I also don't care. Can we just keep hanging out? And you were like, okay.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
I think I made you have a dance party.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we had a dance party afterwards. Yeah.
But I bet that would be also even more confusing for you though, Courtney, because then it's like, now you've got these feelings for her.
Yeah.
And now she could just be a cool person who's okay with it. But like, does she like me?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And while you're having a dance party.
Yeah. Basically having a dance party. And I'm just like, cool, you finally said it. Now I feel like we have a 100% honest, real relationship, like friendship. And like, we can continue hanging out all the time. Then like we hang out every single day. Our roommates are like, why don't you hang out with the rest of us? And we're like, we're just anyone can hang out with us. Like, but not knowing that we were being pretty exclusive.
I'm not going to tell you where we are, but you could definitely hang out with us if you find us.
And then I'm like getting upset that my roommates are upset that like I'm spending so much time with Courtney. I'm like, we're just hanging out as friends. Like anybody can hang out with anybody. Like, why are you so upset? And then I was like, why am I so concerned with how much time I'm spending with Courtney? Like, I just start noticing how much I do want to just be around Courtney. And then my brother came to visit. My brother and I like are very, very close. We're very close. Courtney often says that she's second to my brother, but that's not true. But my brother came to visit, and like on the second night he was here, I was like, my brother and I were doing something. And I was like, oh, I need to tell Courtney this. And he was like, what are you guys like in love or something? And I was like, what? No. Like, why would you say that? And he's like, I mean, he just like put it out there and he was like, I don't know, like you kind of seem, and then like just like moved on. I was like, whatever, man. And then like he like the rest of his trip, like the three of us would do stuff together, like with my brother. And then I took my brother to the airport, and the entire drive home from the airport by myself, I was like
a 45-minute drive.
Oh, like, I think my brother's right. Like, I think that I like Courtney.
Yeah.
I admitted that I wanted her to kiss me, and then it took her another 2 weeks to actually do it. She was dragging her feet.
Courtney's got game.
Yeah. At the same time, she was like still going back and forth of whether or not this was okay. Because she had been down this road, and especially in the Christian world, she had been down the road of like having a pastor confront her about it, like in her previous days. And so I think while I was just like, it doesn't matter. It's just you and me. Like, let's do this. Like, I'm not concerned about it. So it was a lot of back and forth. She finally kissed me. And that was the only moment that I was like, I'm kissing a girl. And then that moment passed. And then I never thought about it again.
It was good.
Yeah, this is great.
You know what, Robin? Before this pandemic, I used to wear jewelry all the time. Do you remember that? I used to wear so much jewelry.
I used to shower. What?
Well, listen. Now that I've discovered Ana Luisa, I'm getting back into it. I got lazy. It's time to up my game. I'm wearing jewelry again.
I see you're wearing some nice earrings right now.
I am. You noticed. I just like Ana Luisa jewelry because they start with recycled materials whenever possible, which is good. And they always use transparent business practices, and they make jewelry in small batches that are really kind to the earth, which is also important. And get this, new jewelry collections are released every Friday. So you can always find new pieces, and that's really fun for me.
Well, I think those earrings look very nice, Jamie. Not too much, very versatile. They suit you, and I feel like you could dress them up, but they could also go very well with your jeans.
Right. Thank you for noticing. They are going very well with my jeans and sweatshirt right now. I agree. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I appreciate a well-placed piece of jewelry. Maxine just started getting into it, and we've had discussions about how you don't want to wear too much. One or two nice pieces go a long way. We're trying to keep it classy over here. So we picked up a bracelet for her from Ana Luisa that she loves. And I love that their pieces are fair priced, which is amazing, with pieces starting at $39. So she can get more if she wants.
I love it. It's great. And you just go online and you shop. All of you, here's what you do. You go to analuisa.com/ovaries. Go treat yourself and your loved ones and use the code OVARIES to get 10% off. I absolutely recommend them. They're a great brand making beautiful, sustainable jewelry.
Go check out analuisa.com/ovaries, code ovaries.
Yeah, that's Ana Luisa, ANALUISA.com/ovaries with code ovaries. You know how to spell ovaries, I'm sure.
I knew my ministry was completely,
they had a zero tolerance
tolerance.
For gay or for relationship?
For homosexuality.
For homosexuality. So whether that was, we had a lot of students who would come on missionary trips down to the DR, and we would house them and be there with them. It was almost a zero tolerance policy for any youth coming down. And so definitely.
There were 3 staff meetings while we were secretly dating about homosexuality, specifically for Courtney's ministry.
So I literally was sitting through these meetings just
what were they saying? If you notice homosexuality, what kind of stuff were they saying?
Basically, we wouldn't be open to allowing students coming down who were openly gay. And just we would go over scripture, we would go over situations that happened in the community, viewing these students coming down who might be gay.
The Dominican Christian community is incredibly conservative.
So you knew if you wanted to stay together, you were going to have to leave there.
Yeah.
Yes. But we also, at that point,
had been there for
over a year.
Yeah.
And we freaking loved our jobs.
Yeah.
We
absolutely
loved the schools we worked at.
Loved the Dominican Republic.
So I think that at that point was neither one of us were ready to leave the country or leave our jobs.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have to give up your life just because you fell in love with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when you decided to keep it secret and just stay, or?
That's when we decided to keep it secret. Our house of 6 girls kind of crumbled. Everyone just assumed, well, because Meredith and Courtney are best friends,
close.
They're going to get an apartment together. They can just get their own place. We were we've been dating for 3 months. We don't want to move in together. That's a terrible idea. So we got a 3rd roommate, and then very last minute, a week before we were supposed to move in, she backed out for other reasons. Yeah. And we were just well, I guess we'll just have to do it. It really became our home became a really safe space because then we could just let our guards down. Not that we were making out all the time, but just
be us.
We could just be ourselves, or sit on the couch and not question how close we were sitting, or if we say something or respond to each other in a certain way, that someone's going to think a certain way about us as a couple. So then eventually we decided 2 years into our relationship, basically, I was kind of nearing the end of the time that I already thought I would be staying in the DR anyway. So I was more okay with calling, saying, okay, I'm going to go back to the States now. But you had to think a lot harder about it just because Courtney had moved down there indefinitely and did not plan on moving back to the States. And then we just also had to have some very serious conversations that are okay, if we leave the DR, it means we're coming out to the world, to our family. And then most likely we would be doing long distance relationship because Courtney was going back to California and I was going back to Chicago. So it was we're going to do cultural transition, coming out, and a long distance relationship all at once.
All in 1 year.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so much. How did you all get from that to being together and coming out?
So we had told our families
when we were still in the Dominican.
When we were still in the Dominican, and we told our immediate family. Yes, we came out to them.
Over the phone?
I told my family when I came home for Christmas 1 year.
Yeah.
And it was a shock to both my parents. My father was pretty immediately accepting, and his wife kind of said she knew. And she's you spent all summer FaceTiming her. And I was oh yeah, maybe. But my dad works for a private Christian college. So he was nervous about other faculty or things finding out, and it would affect his job potentially. But overall, he was accepting, and his side of the family was accepting. My mom, she was devastated. She said incredibly hurtful things to me. We didn't really have a relationship for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, even up to the point where it was so back and forth at times that she almost didn't come to our wedding 2 months before our wedding. And that was just over a year ago.
That's tough.
I came out to my family over FaceTime in the DR when I was there. I do remember finding out later, because I had told my parents, hey, I want to FaceTime you. like I have something to tell you. I knew I needed to like set it up to be able to tell them. And so I found out later from my aunt that my mom kind of had a hunch and that she like was like, I think she might be telling us something
about you being
about me being gay. Yeah. And my dad was like, I don't think so. Like, I don't know. But apparently my dad like did a little bit of research and was like, how do you respond when your like daughter comes out to you
as a Christian man?
As a, as a Christian man.
He had like
for a minute I was hopeful and then I was like,
no, it was like he had a script.
Well, yeah. But I mean, the script was at first of it's just like, we love you. Thanks for telling us. We need time, like with this information. They were like, we don't agree with this. We don't agree that the Bible like says that this is right. But we left it at that for several months until I was able to like come back home and like talk to them face to face.
Interestingly enough, we lost more people when we said we were getting married than we did when we actually came out. I think because especially in the Christian world, people probably just didn't think it would stick or that like, this was a thing you did in the DR. You just moved back. Yeah. Like, surely this will like pass. Also the marriage, like the wedding in itself was like a line in the sand. It was like, here's like, we invited everyone and we had to have
so scary.
Yeah. And we had to have some really hard conversations with immediate family members or incredibly close family members that did not come and who we've not really spoken to since.
My parents ended up coming to the wedding,
but they were also like,
but they definitely stated beforehand, like they were still not for it. They didn't agree with it. My dad didn't walk me down the aisle. He said, I don't feel like I can give you away to a marriage that I don't believe in.
It's so funny. What if you married a man that they just sort of didn't like? They still would walk you down the aisle. Yeah. And Meredith, your mom and dad are divorced. Like, where you get off, like, with your little high and mighty attitude. Yeah. Get your parents on the phone. I got a phone call to make. Put them on the phone.
Slow your roll. Yeah. Slow your roll.
I'm so mad.
Take
right
it easy.
now.
Take it easy.
Listen, Meredith's mom, I'm very angry. You don't know me, but I'm a lesbian from New York, and I have a lot to say, Meredith's mom.
Now that there's the potential for her to be a grandmother on the horizon,
I just was going to say,
this
you know what's going to make this is better?
It's
kids.
A game changer. I couldn't tell her, I'm like, Mom, I can't give you the play-by-play anymore, like on baby stuff, because like, I want to surprise you and be like, you're going to be a grandmother. And she's like, I don't like that. She's like, but your baby, your body, your choice. But I don't like that.
Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, these are life lessons for Meredith's mom right here.
Yeah, exactly.
All up and down. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. And
now you're just like, who cares? We're going to have a baby.
All of a sudden, everybody's going to come back into your life because babies.
Yeah.
Babies. So how did you get there?
Yeah.
A drunken night in Mexico. I'm a wedding photographer, and the weekend before COVID shut down the world, I was shooting a wedding in Mexico, and Courtney came with me. We like kind of treated it like a pseudo honeymoon, but it really was like a workcation for me. But we were in Mexico, and we were out having dinner and drinks, and we just got on because we had been married for a month and a half, 2 months at that point, and we got on the topic of children because early in our relationship, neither one of us thought we were going to have kids. I think I had always, growing up, I was like, I'm going to get married and have kids. Like, that's what you do. And then in my like mid-20s, as I was like struggling to find like a partner in life, I also was realizing like, oh, I don't have to have kids. And like, I've worked in youth ministry and I was a teacher for so many years. And I'm like, I love teenagers in this capacity. Maybe I don't need to have kids. So I just kind of thought like, that's not in the cards for me. Then when we started dating, I was like, oh no, I want to have children with this person. Like I want to raise a family with her specifically.
So when we were dating,
so
like
beautiful.
when Meredith had said like, I don't think I want them, then I was totally like fine with, okay, like maybe that's like what we will do. Like we won't have kids. I don't know.
But then it was when we started talking about coming out and moving back to the States and like what a future would look like. That's when I was like, also, I want to have kids with you.
Yeah. And then I was like, wait, what? It's like 2.5 years into our relationship. And then you're like, I want kids with you. And I'm like, I thought, wait, what?
We weren't doing that, remember?
I thought we weren't doing that.
So we kind of we said like, okay, I was like 80%, you were probably like 20, 30% on board.
You were like 80. I was like 45.
Like whether or not like we were going to move forward with having kids. So we just tabled it also because of all those things we just talked about. Moving back to the States, coming out, getting engaged, planning a wedding. We were like, let's table the kids discussion. So then once we were married and we were in Mexico and we had a few drinks in us, we started to bring it up again. And we really just mapped out in that entire dinner every way that we could have a baby and like prioritize
the process for me, because it was like, oh gosh, like we're going to say we have kids, like we're going to have kids tomorrow. Like that. Yeah. That's what she thought it meant. And I was like, it's going to take a long time. It takes 9 months. Everybody, I know, but like
at least,
yeah, at least. Yeah.
So we're like, okay, adoption, IUI, IVF, like who's going to carry if we do those things. And I've also thought about surrogacy because my mom was a surrogate when I was in high school, like randomly for like another couple. So I was just like, pregnancy is truly in my blood. It feels like mom got pregnant really easily. So we literally just mapped out and prioritized. Like our number one choice was to do IUI with me carrying with a sperm donor. And then in a perfect world, baby number 2 would be like a reciprocal IVF with the same sperm donor.
With Courtney's
eggs. Yes.
Jamie, what if I told you that you could get important fertility insights without going to the doctor or even leaving your home? Come on.
I'd say, tell me more.
Modern Fertility makes that possible with easy at-home fertility hormone testing. You give yourself a single finger prick at home, mail it in with a prepaid label, and you're going to get personalized results within 10 days.
It's so good. Listen, we talk about how expensive our paths to parenthood are all the time, right? And like you guys know, traditional testing with your doctor can cost over $1,000. It's true. But Modern Fertility, guys, only costs $159, and you're going to get the same information. Save that money on this crazy journey.
Oh, and also, please, if you have an HSA or an FSA, you can use those dollars on Modern Fertility, which means more saving. Jamie's making me say ka-ching again.
I love making you say ka-ching. So here's what you're going to get. You're going to get insight into how many eggs you have, your hormone levels, and other important fertility factors.
And it doesn't stop there, Jamie.
It does not.
The results go deep into what every hormone means. And you can also talk one-on-one with a fertility nurse to review your results and options for next steps.
So if you are ready to start this baby-making journey, this might be the right place to start for you.
Right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/OCT.
Guys, that means your test is going to cost $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands it could cost at a doctor's office.
Come on, people. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/OCT.
modernfertility.com/OCT.
We mapped that out, but then we said we are not going to take any action steps in 2020. We will just make that like our research year and like
good decision. Hindsight, huh?
Yeah, right? We had all the time in the world to research. And it really was great. I'm glad we didn't decide to take any action steps in 2020.
So we started the research, and that's where like your guys' podcast came in too. Yeah. So it was like, let's start, listening to all the things, reading all the things. So watching your guys' book and
watching all the YouTubers, like looking for all the lesbian moms out there in the world. Yeah. So
because we need to find each other. We just need to find each other.
I didn't know this world existed. Like,
that's another big reason why 5-7 years ago, more out there.
Yeah. So we spent the majority of the year, just researching and like understanding terminologies, and we like started, with like a list of 12 sperm banks, and then we narrowed down the list of 12 sperm banks, and then we had to narrow down like the sperm donors. We like lost a couple early ones in the beginning just because I was like anxious to pick out somebody, but it was like 6 months in advance too soon.
And then they're gone.
They're gone. And then like we told my parents and my brother like just before Christmas that we're like, hey, 2021 is the year that we're going to start probably trying to have kids. And my mom burst into tears and she was so excited. She said that we made her year. Oh. We made her 2020 by telling her that.
That's amazing.
I'm very confused by Meredith's mom.
I know. Meredith's mom, what's
Aren't we
going
all?
on?
I have a lot of feelings.
That's what my therapist says all the time. She's like, I just can't figure your mom out. And I've had my therapist for 3 years.
You know who is also probably confused by Meredith's mom? Meredith's dad.
Yeah. And Meredith's mom.
Right. Well, I think you have to give all of your parents our book so they can read about how normal we all are.
I know. Sure. And because my mom was a surrogate, she's not like, she's not outside of the world of like what it means to have a baby, like in a different sort of way.
Right.
They just have to get there. They just have to get there.
Gonna get, okay. So where are we? What's going on?
Yeah.
We've got sperm.
We got sperm. Thanks to Helen.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Tell that story because it's hilarious.
Yeah. So we finally,
we knew we were going to inseminate in May. Like that was kind of our projected, like this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. Like because I want to plan and because I'm in the wedding industry, like there's certain seasons that like I will for sure be busy. And so I'm like, I want to have a baby ideally in winter, knock on wood, if I can, just because I know it's a slower season. I know that now that I've said that out loud, it's not going to happen. But
we wanted to have our babies
Jamie and I
in the
literally
summer.
we're just like laughing.
I remember my wife and I having the same conversation, and she's a teacher, so she was like, "Well, it can't be during this time. It can't be. We have to have the babies in June or July, you know." And I remember this conversation,
and just like none of that happens when you're a parent.
Yeah,
like, you lose all control of your time and your schedule.
Yeah, it's
but
totally
I remember
normal.
thinking that.
Yeah,
it's totally normal.
Yeah, so we thought May, so we told ourselves that we would buy our sperm in April. So in March, we like picked our top 4. We actually used your code for California Cryo.
OCT.
Yeah. And it worked and it helped.
It worked and it helped. We narrowed it down. But we lost our California Cryo sperm donor like early. He became unavailable like in weeks that we like picked him.
Oh no.
Which was like a bummer. So then
because you only bought, how many vials did you buy at a time? Just like 1 or 2?
Well, we didn't buy any yet. We had just like favorited him. Because for us, we've been saving money and we were like, we just need to save a little bit, it's expensive. So it's like, because then it was like the earlier you purchase, you also have to put it in storage if we're not going to inseminate until May. So we were like, we really have to hold off until April to purchase. So we were just crossing our fingers that our donors would still be available. We lost a couple ones early, which is fine. So then the last week of March, I just so happened because I'm crazy. I like pulled up the cryobank and I was like, I check on our sperm donors weekly. I'm just like, how are you doing? So the last week of March, I checked in on our number 1 choice and it said, please call, which meant that he had less than 10 vials left. So then I like panic. Courtney's at work. I'm at home and I'm like, this is our guy. We are literally 1 week shy of the deadline we gave ourselves, right? Like we said, we're going to purchase in April, but we are the ones that made that deadline. We're like, we can change it.
It's arbitrary.
So I like called and they were like, yes, your donor has 9 vials left. And I was like, oh no. So Courtney
she was freaking out.
I was freaking out. I'm like, this is the guy, and we totally tried not to look for Superman. Like that's been on our, like, we know that. So we had 4 favorites, but I was like, we've already lost a couple of our other favorites. Like, I just wanted to be this guy. So I called Courtney, she came home and I was like, we have to make this decision today, whether or not we're like moving on this guy because we don't know if he's going to be available. Also, we want to purchase more for like future siblings. And it's like, if they're going to run out. So in a span of like 3 hours, we decided that we were going to purchase that night, like a week ahead of our schedule. So then we called and we were just like back and forth on the phone with this woman. And she's like looking up all the different things about our sperm donor. And then she's like, yes, he only has 9 left, but I just found out that he's still active. So he's still like donating for the future, but she's like, we don't know where in the process he is. So we don't know when more vials will become available, but there will be more vials available soon. Then we're like, okay, well, we want to purchase. And she was like, okay, well, have you filled out all the forms? And I was like, yes. Go through all that. And then she's like, ready. She's like, okay, what's the address for shipping? I'm like, oh, we're not going to ship until May. And she's like, oh, well, then you need this other form. So then we're on the form with our clinic, like with our doctor, because we're having the sperm shipped to our house, not the doctor's office. And then there's this extra form that they need to fill out. our doctor's office fax machine is not working. So at one point we're literally
she's freaking out because she's like, we're losing the guy.
Yeah, like he's
going,
he's disappearing.
The father of our children has disappeared.
So we have the doctor's office on speakerphone and this woman on speakerphone, and we're like trying to get them to talk to each other. I'm like, their fax machine isn't working. Like, what can you email it to them? Like all this stuff. Eventually we got it all sorted out. Yeah. We purchased 3 vials. I mean, we were on the phone with her for like 30 minutes. But she was 45, so helpful. Like, and I was like a ball of stress, and I was just like, it's not going to happen. And at the end of the phone call, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You've been so helpful. What is your name again? She's like, oh, my name is Helen. And we just like looked at each other.
We hung up the phone.
And I was like, okay, thank you. Bye, Helen.
And then we just looked at each other. We're like, Helen.
We're like, Helen. She probably was
what
like,
are the chances?
We were so excited when she said her name was Helen. She probably was so confused. She's like, okay, congratulations. Bye.
She's probably like, all these weird lesbians are calling up and talking to me about my name being Helen. I don't know why.
Yeah. And we just cracked up, and I was like, I can't believe Helen helped us buy our sperm. That's so funny. We just died of laughter. Yeah. Courtney started crying. I was too stressed to cry at that point because it was supposed to be this like monumental thing. We bought the sperm, but it was such a stressful process. I just was like, okay, at least he's purchased, and
right.
It's just nice that something reminded you to like bring it down a notch.
Yeah.
Sure. Like the stakes are very high because you are choosing the genetic material for your future children. Yeah. But at the same time, you have to find a way to make it not be everything.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do.
I think it was good. I think I was way more at ease because I think this whole time for the last 6 months, I've been like monitoring these sperm donors. And I felt like that was one thing I could just let go now of because it's purchased. Yeah. They are ours.
Yes. We ended up buying three vials. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And you're going to do at home IUIs?
No, we're going to do it with our clinic. We love our clinic. Yeah. It's Howard Brown Health Center in Chicago. They're incredibly inclusive. We found them because of their inclusivity. In the fall, we were part of a Zoom support group of LGBT people looking to get pregnant. We really like them because they don't call it artificial insemination. They call it alternative insemination because there's nothing artificial about this. Yeah. Like it's just an alternative way. Yeah. So we've just we're not pregnant yet, but we have just had an amazing experience there. I've been tracking my ovulation and I keep it all in a little notebook. And so we go in next week for our final check-in where the doctor's going to give us, she gave us the green flag last month, but she's going to affirm that next week, knowing that we want to inseminate in May.
Awesome. And you're going to do non-medicated? You're just going to go with what you got?
We're doing non-medicated. As of right now, everything is good. We did a fertility checkup early fall, and I had my hormone levels and my follicle count. Is that what they did? Checked, and she told me everything was textbook. So I was like, can't be better than textbook at this point.
and I have a mom who was a surrogate. So.
Yeah. And when my mom was a surrogate, the doctor told her she had a perfect uterus. So I'm like, I asked my lady, I was like, does my uterus look perfect? Because my mom's is.
Because Meredith's mom's uterus is perfect.
Yes. And she's like, that's what she told me. Well, it's textbook. So that I will take. Okay. But I have, since purchasing the sperm, done all the rituals and superstitions possible. I think mostly we're just after the last year and a half that the world has had, we're ready for something positive. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Well, take the pressure off if you can. Take the pressure off if you can.
And that's what we've been talking about, knowing that it's statistically, it's going to take a few tries, but in the meantime, I'm eating all the pineapple. Be positive and
about the first try.
All the things.
Well, we are so glad that we have been a part of your process from the beginning all the way through. And we just cannot wait to meet this Ovaries Talk baby.
I know. Same. We're really excited.
We were not here yet, but soon.
I know. We were like, oh, what stage we'll be in by the time we actually record. But it's 2 weeks from tomorrow is most likely going to be our insemination day. So then hopefully in a month, we will at least know one way or the other what happened.
That's so exciting. It's so exciting. And I'm so excited for your families.
Yeah.
For this baby to come. Because so much healing comes from the children.
It's
much
like
healing.
they can see your relationship in a different way. They see, I think sometimes they see this is not like some fly by night thing. These are two people who care.
Yeah.
And then they see that the way you love your children and the intentionality that you bring and they're kids and they don't want to wreck the kids.
And the way the children love you.
Love you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. We absolutely
been
love
so
talking
great.
to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having
thank
us.
you guys.
Like we said, we've been listening to you guys for so long, and we have your book and we just love it. And we've been so thankful just for all the different stories that you've shared and that you continue to share. And we're glad that we get to share our story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to make us cry.
Oh, those two. Aren't they the sweetest?
Their story. I mean, the date, I can't even with them.
That date, I mean, like, I'm sorry. I mean, Meredith, how did you not know this was a date? I mean, she was planning it as if you guys were like on a honeymoon. I love it so much.
Oh, so sweet though.
There's something so
sweet.
earnest about also the planning of that date and the flowers and then like the rain and trying to get there, but you have to be ready early. It's just like there's something so cute about the whole thing.
And I totally get hiding relationships because I did it for a long time. I think fondly on those days.
Oh,
I
mine
really
was
do.
not fun. Mine was a horrible hot mess with my friends. Anyway, that was a lovely, lovely, lovely interview. And I can't wait till they have a baby and we meet that baby and Meredith's mom meets the baby. I can't wait for all those things.
It's going to change everything. It's
And
gonna
also
change it all.
Courtney's parents, because I have a feeling they're going to warm up a little too.
It's going to all change for the better.
Yay!
Yay. Okay, so let's get down to business. That's from a musical.
Okay.
To defeat the Huns. It's from Mulan. I don't know what is
Are you ready?
happening.
Are you ready to maybe move it forward, Jamie? Or you just want to keep doing
You do it.
Okay.
I was going to move it
I
forward
was
and I
going to say,
decided not
if
to.
anyone you really did stall out in the middle of that. If anyone has any thoughts about this episode they want to share with us on social media, we love it when you give us feedback and when you say hi and talk about our guests and tell us that you don't hate us. That's always nice too.
Oh my God. Wait, sorry.
Did somebody hate us? Oh,
no, one quick note. Anne just forwarded me this email from one of her coworkers, a guy, and I think he's a straight dude. He was like sending her a business email, la la la, this is here, I worked on this for you. And then he goes, oh, and by the way, the most recent ovaries episode, how crazy was that? And he like said that was so cool. I think it was Ian, but isn't that hilarious?
That's hilarious. I love it.
I just loved it.
God. I love when we hit like random pockets of people. It does
makes
feel
me so
nice.
Happy. So he just got a shout out in the podcast. So good job.
All
I
right,
can't remember
dude.
your name though, dude. But thanks for listening.
Just go, hey, you, that guy,
Hey, you.
All right. Anyway, you can keep the conversation going on social Ovaries Talk on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If These Ovaries Could Talk on YouTube, and that's also the place you're going to be able to see recordings of our live streams. And don't forget, our live streams are every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can watch them on either Facebook or YouTube. And last but not least, I would be remiss if I did not mention that you can support our podcast and join our community on patreon.com/overstalk. Don't forget about that bonus content.
I really think we should do all of our intros and outros in this voice.
I think so too.
Do you think people would still listen to us if we talked
I think
like
they'd
this?
be annoyed and they'd ask us to go back to our regular squeaky voices.
I think they would be very, very bored by us.
They already are, Jamie. Thank you to our sponsors, Ana Luisa, Modern Fertility, and Trust and Will. And a huge thank you to all you Patreons who are already helping us make this show. We thank you.
We thank you. We thank you. We thank you.
Eggs.
Ovaries.
Ovaries. Out.
If these ovaries could talk, they would say, eggs, ovaries, out.